Everyone, this is Jennifer. In this video we're going to look into Securities and Exchange Board of India. So what is Securities and Exchange Board of India? So there was a time wherein the government emphasized on the need for properly regulating the securities market in India. So when you looked into that, the regulation in this regard was scattered in different laws and administrative agencies which do not have proper manpower and expertise in order to ensure the fair deal for customers and the investors. So for this, the government of India came through a resolution constitute the Security and Exchange Board of India to promote a healthy and growth oriented securities market in India. Okay, so the government further felt that the investors' confidence on the capital market can be sustained largely only by ensuring the investors' protection. So this was mainly concentrating on protecting the investors against the malpractices and protecting the investment in the securities market. So the government issued an ordinance on Jan 30th, 1992 for giving a statutory power to SEBI. So this act was passed by the Parliament as Act number 15 of 1992, which received the assent of the Parliament on 14th April 1992. Further, on May 29, 1992, the government issued an ordinance abolishing the Capital Issued Control Act 1947. The ordinance also subsedes the various guidelines issued by the CCI, which is nothing but the Capital. It is a Competition Commission of India. So accordingly, SEBI is set up under the SEBI Act 1992. So the SEBI came into existence on the year 1992. So the purpose of the SEBI Act, okay, so the first one is to protect the interest of investors in securities. So basically it is for the investors in this securities market to protect them for the manipulation from the malpractices which happen in the securities market, and also to regulate the mutual funds and venture capital, etc. So second point is to promote the development of the securities market. Okay, so the third one, to regulate the securities market, whether it is happening properly. Okay, so to regulate the mutual funds and the venture capital in the market, to check on the malpractices, insider trading and the market pricing, and also for the matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. So to the matters connected, anything with the securities market. Next point is the powers and functions of SEBI. So section 11 of the SEBI Act specifies that basic duty of SEBI is to protect the interest of investors, to promote the development and to regulate the securities market. The various functions are as follows. First one, to regulate the business in stock exchanges and other securities market. So what is a stock exchange or security market? It is a place wherein the transactions happen on shares, stocks, etc. of a company. So they buy and sell the shares of a company. So it regulates the business happening in the stock exchanges and the other securities market. Second one, securities market, second one, and the securities exchanges and the securities market. Second one, registering and regulating the working stockbrokers, sub-brokers, etc. who may be associated with the securities market in any manner. So basically regulating and registering. So in order to act as a stockbroker or sub-brokers, you need to register yourself as a broker in the securities market. So basically registering and regulating how they are working without any malpractice, checked down every time by the SEBI. Next one is registering and regulating the working of depository, participant, intermediaries, custodians, foreign institutional investors, credit rating agencies, and such other intermediaries as the board by notification specify in his behalf, regulating their act. Fourth one is registering and regulating the working of venture capital funds and capital investment schemes, including the mutual funds. So, what do you mean by venture capital funds? So, venture capital is it is basically a form of private equity and a type of finance that investors provide to startup companies and small businesses that are believed to have a long-term growth potential. So, a startup company, nobody will believe in investing on such investment investing on such startup companies. So at that time venture capitalists come who basically provide finance to that companies with the basic theme that this company or this idea will succeed in the future. So depending on that particular thought, they invest in that investment. So ultimately sometimes it becomes successful. The next point is promoting and regulating self-regulatory organizations. The next is prohibiting fraudulent and unfair trade practices relating to the security market. So any untrade or fraudulent practices that is happening because of the intermediaries or the stockbrokers or the venture capitalists or the businesses, so such things will be avoided or prohibited by the SEBI Act. Next is promoting investors education and training of intermediaries of securities market will be conducted by the SEBI. Next is prohibiting insider trading in securities. So insider trading is so it is a illegal practice of trading happening in these stock exchanges. So such trading activities will be prohibited by the SEBI. Next is regulation substantial acquisition of shares and takeover of companies. So regulating the substantial acquisition of shares or the acquisition and takeover of companies will be taken over by SEBI. Next is if there are any fees or charges for carrying out the purpose will be conducted by SEBI. Next, if any researches needs to be conducted, that also will be carried on by SEBI on securities market. So these are the various functions of SEBI. So moving on to these are the various powers of SEBI. Okay, so first is power of inspection. So they have a power to take or undertake inspection of any book or register or any other document or record which is of a listed public company or a public company which intends to get its security listed on any stock exchanges. So in order to avoid the insider trading or fraudulent trade activities. Second one is power of court. So the board will also have the power invested basically vested in a civil court. So what kind of powers are we talking about? The discovery and production of books of accounts and other documents at such place and such time as may be prescribed by specified by the board. Summoning and enforcing the attendance of persons and examining their oath, inspecting any books, inspection of any registers, issuing commissions of the examination of witnesses, documents, etc. They can take these matters to the court vested. Okay, the next is power in the interest of securities market. So basically the board or the SEBI by any order for reasons to be recorded in writing in the interest of investors or secured market take any of the measures, okay, we either suspend the trading of any securities in a recognized stock exchanges or restrain persons from accessing the securities market or prohibit any persons to buy or sell securities or suspend any office bearer of any stock exchange who deal in insider trading, etc. Next is power regarding protection of investors. So the various power regarding protection of investors would be with regard to matters relating to issue of capital, transfer of securities, and also with disclosing the information of the companies. And also at special orders, they will, in order to protect the customers, they may prohibit any company from issuing of prospectus or any other document or any advertisement soliciting money from the public for the issue of securities. Next, we are moving on to issue directions. So in order, the power vested to the SEBI on issue directions are, so if it is satisfied with everything, it is the board basically will consider the interest of investors, orderly development of securities market, or to prevent the affairs of intermediary or other persons in the matter relating to the interest of investors or securities market, to secure the proper management of any intermediaries. For all this, they can issue directions. Next is power of investigation. So power of investigation, so when the board has reasonable to ground to believe the transaction in securities dealt with a manner the investors or the securities market, or if there are any intermediate persons associated with secure I'll violated any provisions of this act, they can go ahead with an investigation. So the investigation authority may require any intermediate or any person associated with securities manner to furnish such information or provide such books or registers or other documents or records before them for any investigation. And the investigation authority may also keep its custody of any books, registers, or the documents. And if any person fail without any reasonable cause to produce to the investigation authority any person authorized by him in the basically of providing any registers or documents or records, so at that time when they are asked to furnish other information, if they don't furnish, or if they are asked to appear before the investigating authority person, if they don't appear, or if they asked to sign the notes of any examination, if they don't sign, okay, if there are any intermediaries, so he'll be punishable with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year with, or with a fine which may basically extend to 1 crore rupees, or with both, or also they may further fine which may extend to 5 lakh rupees for every day after the first during which the failure or refusal continues. So basically they can do anything while the investigation happens. So if they don't obey the investigation, they may be penalized on it. And when where in the course of investigation, the investigation authority has reasonable ground to believe that the books, registers, other documents and record or relating to intermediary or any person associated with securities market in any manner may be destroyed, mutilated, altered or falsified or secreted. Okay, so such cases the investigator authority may make an application to the judicial magistrar of the first class having jurisdiction for an order for seizure, basically seizing all such books, registers and documents. Okay, and also the investigating authority shall keep in its custody every book which are seized under this section. So moving on to the next power to seize and desist proceedings. So if the board finds after causing an inquiry to be made that any person has violated or is likely to violate any provisions of the Act or any rules and regulations made thereunder, it may pass an order requiring such person to cease and desist from committing or causing such violation. Next one is prohibition of manipulative and deceptive devices, insider trading, and substantial acquisition of securities or control. So, anyone who is engaging in insider trading or any employing of any device, scheme, or artistic to defraud in connection with stock exchange, or to acquire control of any company or securities more than the percentage of equity share capital of the company. So if any such things are happening, it has a right to prohibit it, or dealing in securities while in possession of material or non-public information. So such things will be prohibited only by the SEBI. So these are the various Securities and Exchange Board of India powers. So thank you everyone.